morning everyone. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy New Year. My name is Amandeep and I am an educator on adding knowledge. What do I do? Who am I? You must be wondering, who am I? I am a student of genetics. I plan to be a student for the rest of my life because there is no greater joy than learning new things every day. I am a student of genetics, as I mentioned just a few seconds earlier, so I'm very sorry for repeating myself. But yeah, I am a student of genetics, but I do not like calling myself that. Why? Why do I not like calling myself a student of genetics if I am studying genetics? That's a very funny thing to say. Why? The reason why I say this is because I like to call myself a student of science instead of genetics. I do not like to limit my interests into just one bucket. Now what do I mean when I say bucket? That's also another very funny analogy to make. What I mean when I say bucket, also I am borrowing an idea here, I am not plagiarizing, I am giving due credit. This was a part of a lecture that one of my most favorite scientists and professors, Dr. Robert Sapolsky, who teaches neuroscience and behavioral biology, who used to teach neuroscience and behavioral biology at Stanford University, once said in one of his lectures regarding behavioral biology that we should not think in buckets, that we should not limit our thinking to just one discipline or one lane of thinking. There are multiple lanes, there are many different angles and perspectives from which we can approach a problem or a thought or an idea or anything, absolutely anything. There cannot ever be just one explanation. Say one of you who is watching this video is working on a mathematics problem. There is not just one way in which you can solve an algebraic equation, right? There are multiple different ways. There are multiple different ways in which you can approach a calculus problem. There are multiple different ways in which you can do anything. So that is what I want to say, that there are multiple different ways of thinking. There are multiple different perspectives. There are many perspectives. So never limit yourself to just one way or perspective. Explore other possibilities. So that is why I like to call myself a student of science, because I am a student of science, not just one discipline. Now, if I have to introduce myself a bit further, I am currently working on a project that deals with neuroscience and body dysmorphia disorder, which is a psychological disorder that is actually very prevalent in our current population of our generation and also the generation before us. It is not talked about a lot. It is quite harmful and it can often be lethal, and people are often prone to taking their own lives and committing violent acts and a lot of other things. So I am currently working on that while I am also currently studying, and in my free time, which is most of the time, let's be honest, in my free time I try to read a lot. I watch a lot of films, from Sapolsky art house films to challenge to I watch everything. Absolutely anything that is playing on the TV or in the theaters, I watch everything. I like watching everything, it gives you perspective. So that was enough about me. So what are we doing today? Why am I making this video? Not very long ago, not only a couple of years ago, our world was faced with something very new, something that was new to every one of us, something that had not happened in many years. We were faced with the COVID-19 pandemic. We had to face something that was so new to us. Schools were closed, we were not allowed to go outside, everything was in shambles, everything was a problem. We could not go out, we could not buy basic things, prices of everything was skyrocketing, from prices of vegetables to prices of basic sanitation needs to even the prices of cigarettes. So it was a very problematic period of time. For 2-3 years we had to do things that were very new to us. Every one of us were wearing multiple masks, everyone was afraid of everyone else, everyone was afraid of talking to people, people were afraid of interacting with people on the road, which is a very new thing, especially in Kolkata where Adda is a very prominent culture. So everything was new, everything was different. There were millions and millions of people dying all over the world. There were economic crises, there were psychological crises, there were personal, social, political crises from every possible angle and every possible perspective. And then came a time when vaccines were legalized. Vaccines were being made by researchers and scientists, and after a lot of trial runs. Although I might add here that not enough trial runs were carried out, and as we are seeing now in various news reports, that the vaccines that we actually injected into our own bodies, say the Covishield or the Covaxin, can actually prove to be quite harmful in later years. That is a different issue that we are not going to get into now. So what are we getting into now? Why am I bringing up the very bad memories of COVID-19? Now, almost all of us might have gotten tested for COVID-19. Have you ever wondered what that test was? Have you ever wondered what they did after they took a swab of your mouth with the cotton swab thing and then they kept it aside? Have you ever wondered what the test was, what the procedure of the test was, what the test was called? I am here to tell you that. So the test that was used for COVID-19 detection was this test called RT-PCR. Now what does RT-PCR mean? RT-PCR means reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction. Now what is reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction? These are so many big words that are just put next to each other that probably do not make sense to a lot of you who are watching this video. That is understandable. So we are going to approach the reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction in 5 steps. We are going to break down each word. Now I'm not going to start at the first word, which is reverse. I am going to start at the second word, which is polymerase. What is polymerase? Polymerase comes from the word polymerase. It doesn't come from the word. Polymerase means polymerization. What is polymerization? What is a polymer? A polymer is a long chain of small identical units. What do I mean when I say that? For example, let's say I am writing A, and then a long chain of A. Now the individual A's are monomers. Mono meaning one, and the long chain consisting of a lot of A's, that is a polymer. Poly meaning multiple. Now that is what polymerase means. Polymerase means that you stack identical units on top of each other to get a long line of that same unit. For example, when you are playing with building blocks or Legos, you stack blocks on top of each other and you get like a long pillar, and then you play with it and then everybody is happy. So that is what polymerization basically is. Okay. Now what does chain mean? Chain means that the process is going in a chain. It's going in a chain. It's a cyclic process. It's a cyclic process. And I hope I do not have to explain to you what reaction means. Reaction means two things are interacting with each other and then something is happening and then a new product is being formed. The change can be reversible, which means that, for example, let's say I have ice in this hand and that ice is being kept out in the open, and then slowly over time the ice will melt and it will become water. So from ice to water, this is a reaction, and then again if I put this glass of water back in the refrigerator, that will become ice again. So ice to water, water to ice. It's a reversible reaction. But there are many chemical reactions which are not reversible, which are irreversible. So that is what reaction means. Now what is reverse transcriptase? What is PCR? What is the whole process of PCR? What does PCR mean? What are the components of a PCR? Where do you carry out a PCR reaction? Or how do you use it to diagnose tests? These are problems that we will deal with in the next videos. I hope you like this video. Please like, share and subscribe if you like it, and if you want to see more of me, and if you have any problems, I definitely want you to tell me, and let's just hope for the best.